Life has taught me something that might surprise you. Nothing worth having ever comes without taking risks. Every great story, every great achievement, every life truly lived is built on moments where someone was brave enough to step into the unknown. Playing it safe might give you security, but it will never give you fulfillment. The truth is, you don't find passion in living small. Nelson Mandela once said that there is no excitement, no true fire in choosing a life that is less than the one you rate capable of living. And he was right. Think about it. From the time you were in school, people probably told you, make sure you have a backup plan. Don't put all your eggs in one basket. Always have something to fall back on. It sounds reasonable, even protective. But here's what I could never understand. Why would you want to fall back? Why would you prepare to retreat before you even begin? If I'm going to stumble, I'd rather fall forward because at least when I do, I'll see what I'm crashing into. Falling forward means progress, even in failure. Falling back means surrender. Consistency, not luck, is what separates those who finish the race from those who quit halfway. You can have talent, you can have dreams, but without persistence, it all fades. If you want to make something extraordinary of your life, you need to do the things you care about deeply, things that set your soul on fire. Take chances. Risk being embarrassed. Risk looking foolish. Risk failing. Because the only way to create something remarkable is to think and act beyond the box society tries to put you in. There's an old puzzle where 9 dots are arranged in a square, and the challenge is to connect them all with straight lines without lifting your pencil. Most people fail at first because they keep their lines inside the box. The only way to succeed is to literally draw outside of it. That's life. The only way forward is often the way others told you not to take. Don't be afraid to step out of the frame. Don't be afraid to fail and fail big. But here's the catch. Dreams by themselves are useless. Dreams without goals are just wishes floating in your head. Goals are what turn dreams into direction. And discipline is what turns goals into reality. Look at athletes. One of the greatest home run hitters in baseball history also held the record for the most strikeouts. Nobody remembers the thousands of times he failed. They remember the moments he succeeded. History honors the victories, not the mistakes. But those victories would never exist without the failures that came before them. Thomas Edison didn't invent the light bulb in one stroke of genius. He failed hundreds, even thousands of times. The failures are forgotten. The success is remembered. Every failure was simply a step closer to the right answer. That's what falling forward means. It is not about avoiding mistakes. It is about using mistakes as bricks to build the road to your purpose. At some point in your life, you will fail. That's not a threat, it's a guarantee. You'll lose at something. You'll be embarrassed. You'll put your best effort into something and still come up short. Society tells us to avoid those moments at all costs. But I'll tell you the opposite. Embrace them. Because failure is not the opposite of success, it is the foundation of it. When I first started my career, I auditioned for a musical role that I thought was perfect for me, except I couldn't sing. I was rejected instantly. Humiliated, maybe, but I didn't stop there. I auditioned again, and again, and again. Each time I thought I was ready, life reminded me that I wasn't. But every rejection was sharpening me for the future. There's a saying, if you hang around the barber shop long enough, eventually you're going to get a haircut. Stay in the game long enough, and sooner or later, your opportunity will arrive. Years later, I performed in a critically acclaimed play. The same theater where I had been rejected decades earlier was now showcasing my success. That's the full circle of persistence. Failure isn't final unless you quit. It's simply feedback pointing you toward growth. So I'll ask you, do you have the courage to fail? Because if you don't, you'll never truly try. To achieve something you've never had, you must be willing to do something you've never done. Imagine this: your life has ended, and around your bed stand ghosts. These are the ghosts of ideas you never acted on, dreams you never pursued, talents you never used. They stare at you with disappointment and say, We came to you for life, and now we die with you. That's the tragedy of wasted potential. The question you must ask yourself today is, how many ghosts will be standing at your bed when your time comes? The world needs you, not tomorrow, not someday today. I've seen the poorest places on earth and the wealthiest, and they all have one thing in common: need. Whether it's poverty in distant countries or broken systems in your own neighborhood, the world is desperate for solutions. And yes, you have something to give. Don't measure your impact by money alone. Some of you have wealth, yes, but others have patience, wisdom, creativity, love, or resilience. Every one of you has a gift. The question is, what will you do with it? Your life won't be a straight path. I started in college thinking I'd become a doctor. One science course later, I realized I didn't even understand half the words in the textbook. I switched to law, then journalism, then bounced from one major to another without direction. My grades were so low the university basically suggested I leave. At 20 years old, I felt like a failure. But it was in that low point that someone spoke words over my life that would change me forever. One afternoon, I was helping my mother in her small beauty shop when an elderly woman who barely knew me looked at me for a long time and finally said, "Young man, you will travel the world and speak to millions of people." At that moment, it sounded like nonsense. I was broke, lost, and barely holding my life together. Yet years later, that prophecy came true, not in the way I expected, but in ways bigger than I imagined. Through films, speeches, and travels, I've spoken to millions who never even saw my face outside the screen. The point is this: you don't have to see the full picture today. You don't need to have all the answers. What you do need is courage to take chances, faith to keep going, and the humility to admit what you don't know. Your life will be defined by the risks you take, the people you meet, the love you give, and the faith you hold. So never hold back. Give everything you have. Fail boldly. Risk greatly. Because when you fall, and you will remember to fall forward.